So in this video I'll be talking about the houseplants that I have in my living room. This is the best room in the house for plants, as it's got one large window over here that's southeast facing. It's also got a window there which is kind of northeast facing, and then we've got a kind of a southwest facing window in the door here, so there's a lot of light. So because of that I've got a lot of plants in here. I won't go through all the plants in too much detail as it will take too long, but ones that I'll be doing other videos about individual plants in more detail. So starting off, here's my chili plant. This is just a normal chili. I've got this on my chili diary now, so you can see more information about that. It's coming into, it's beginning of November now, so it's only got a few chilies left, but if I'm lucky I might have a second flush. And you can just see here some of the aphids which have been cocooned by, we'll get it to focus there, which have got the parasitic wasps in them, and they've become cocoons. That's how most of my aphids are dealt with in this house. Luckily there's enough little tiny wasps. And then talking of one, there's one just on this window. Yeah, kind of hard to see because they're so small. Anyway, so the next plant is my adenium, which after flowering lows lost nearly all its leaves, but now it's got lots of new shoots, so I'm quite hopeful that that will come out nice. It's probably going to go into a growth stage now and grow through. So yeah, I got this one about a year ago. This plant's only 1 year old or less. Got it in May this year, so it's only about 8 months old. This one I got in the summer. And this is my cacti trough, which is completely full of cacti. I'll go through them individually in another video, but basically these are all cacti which like it fairly dry. And I've got other cacti which I've got elsewhere. I've kept them apart because I don't like it quite so dry. So I made it a home out of recycled wood, potted it up. It's got cacti compost in it, and then just covered in gravel just to make it look a bit nicer. It's done well. It's grown quite quickly, especially this plant here. The big prickly pear cactus has done really well also, and this is also the rat tail cactus has grown a lot. I'm hoping that might flower this year. Also the aloe vera, that was about 10 times the size of that, and I had loads of suckers, so I had to take that completely out. I've now just got one of the little suckers in there. There's another small disc of cacti. This one's pretty awful, to be honest. The stones are actually glued in place, so it's very hard to water. Also, I have a feeling that these 3 plants aren't in soil. I think they're just little plugs with soil, and the rest is just gravel. So it's very hard to water, for which reason these are shriveling up. But I've had it for quite a few months, so I don't think they'll die, they just won't do very well. Here's my main big money plant. I'm trying to get the flower at the moment, so I've been having it outside at night to get cool, bring it back in the day to warm up. So hopefully that'll flower. I'll do another video about that. Here's one of my patchy podiums. It's grown quite a lot actually. Bought this online from, I think it was the Cactus shop. Highly recommend it. It's a very good shop for cacti and succulents. I also got this one from it. This has grown quite a bit. So this is a Podium Sanjasai, which is one of the really fat ones with the big caudex. Amazingly, this has only grown, you can see the top bit there. It's only grown about 1 centimetre in height, but it's probably almost doubled in mass with swelling up and fattening up, so it's actually done really quite well. I've seen online that often they're quite fat at the base and they get leggy shoots at the top, but I'm hoping this one will just keep getting fatter and fatter and won't look too odd. If it does get leggy I can always trim it, but at the moment it's doing really well and it's not getting too leggy or anything. It's got a few yellow leaves now. I think that's probably because it's coming into autumn. It might be thinking of going dormant. It's on a sunny windowsill in a warm enough room. This room, because it gets so much sun, gets up to about 22 on a sunny day. And then the coldest it ever gets is 18, so it might not go dormant. My other plant is the elephant foot one. The Latin name is, bear with me this one, I'm not sure I can pronounce it. It's a Testudinaria elephantypes. That's quite a well-known one in botanical gardens. The big tuber here, which grows half above soil, half underground. This one's mainly above ground, I think. grows really large, and it just has this kind of climbing vine on the top. This one's not done a lot since I got it. It had an extra shoot, but that died off. Thought it was going dormant, but it actually kept going. This one hasn't put any growth from the top. However, this has actually grown a fair amount. I can kind of see here it's grown more. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but basically in the deepest part of the cracks, just down there, there's some slightly lighter wood. That slightly lighter material is all new, so there you can see where my nail is. That dark line is where it was when I started, about 4 months ago, and the light colour deeper than that is actually what's grown since I've had it. So it's actually growing, it's swelling up at a decent speed, so I'm quite happy with that. I'll probably go dormant at some point and hopefully send up a new shoot, because it would be nice to see it actually grow some leaves, because it hasn't done anything at the top half. But it's good to know that it is growing and it is swelling up the cortex. So that's just sitting there whilst the this is here. And this is my Chile Census. I've done quite a lot of videos on this, and you can see my playlist about it. It's just never done very well, to be honest. It keeps going through stages of growing lots of leaves and losing lots of leaves. And it has an okay crop of chilies, and they're super spicy, but they're quite variable. Some of them don't have any spice, other ones will absolutely kill you. So at this moment in time, it's just finishing one of the stages where it loses the leaves. It's just starting to regrow the leaves again, so you can see there's some quite nice shoots starting to develop. So hopefully in about 2 or 3 weeks that'll be full of leaves again and look healthy, and then knowing my luck, it'll go for another cycle of losing leaves. I haven't been able to figure out why it does this or how to stop it, but I think it might be to do with the root to shoot ratio, but I'm not sure. I'll just have to try and figure it out though. So over here is my biggest houseplant, my Frangipani, or Palmaria, sorry. I've had this one about 4 years, I think. Bought it on eBay from the Curious Plants people. It's done really well, as you can see. It's got really big. It hasn't flowered yet because I don't give it enough daylight. And it's just going into dormancy now, so you can see there's no new leaves coming on it. They're all getting small and getting ready for winter. But having said that, it hasn't lost its leaves. Every year it's been deciduous, apart from last year when it was in this flat. I've had it in several other flats and it's always been deciduous, but because there's so much light in this bright room, and it's so much warmer in this flat because it's got decent insulation and double glazing, it doesn't go deciduous. For an example, you can see until about 2 months ago it had leaves right down to here. Those leaves were well over a year old. This is this season's growth. That's last year's growth. So this is my rubber plant. I got this in just in a little, really cheap, about £10. It's done quite well. Unfortunately, it did have red spider mite when I first got it, but this is the only plant I've actually been able to eradicate red spider mite 100%. The way I did it is I completely covered it in pesticide, which I don't like using, but it's the only way really. And then I left it outside until I think it was November last year, so it was cold and damp. It's something that red spider mites don't like. And it did pick up a bit of cold damage on the leaves, you can see there and here, and that's why I had to take it in. But I haven't had any red spider mite for over a year, so that's been a great success. However, it doesn't grow very fast. I think maybe it's a bit too dark in this corner. If I step back, you'll see the positioning in the room. It's quite far away from the main window, but it's still bright enough. It's not going leggy or anything, but I'm just a bit dubious as to why it's growing so slowly, because I have repotted it and I thought that would encourage more growth. The only real growth it has done this year is this side shoot. So then moving up, I've got a chlorophytum. I think it's like basically like the spider plant, but just the green variety instead of the variegated variety. That was here with the house, here with the flat. It was really poorly looking bad, but it's starting to perk up now. You can see some of the old leaves still don't look good, and that's coming along. And then this is my pothos vine, which I've done a video about probably about a week ago. You can find out more from that video. But I need to say, this was a cutting from a very old one I had in another flat, and it's grown this year from here all the way down to that, so it's quite good growth now. It likes the kind of shadier spot. And the final one in this room is my anthurium. This one is a bit like the rubber plant, it's just not growing. Don't know what's up with it. it's grown a few leaves, but it's just not flowering anymore. I don't know if it needs more light or what, so I'm going to try and experiment with that. I've started feeding it a high potash feed to try and encourage flowers, and it should be light enough because you can see here it's quite bright. You can see the shadow against the wall there. It doesn't get a lot of direct light, but it's quite bright, and anthuriums don't really need much light at all. They like it quite dark, so I thought that might have been good enough, but for whatever reason it hasn't flowered, so I'll leave it here probably for another 6 months, see what happens in spring or summer next year. Still doesn't do anything, then I'll move it to a brighter position. So that's most of my plants I've talked about. There's just 2 more. That's my amaryllis bulbs. There's one here which is just starting to die back for its dormant period, because once you buy them, they flower, and once they finish flowering they die back and they grow lots of leaves so they can charge up their energy for next year. So this one has had leaves since last Christmas. It's now November, so that's been almost a year, and it's now starting to die back. You can see it's yellowing off. It had probably about 10 leaves in total. It's only got 3 now, so it's dying back. And the bulb, as you can see, is bright green. It's really fattened up. It's looking good, and it's actually about as fat as the pot now. It's really big. So once that dies down, I'll just stop watering it, let it dry out, put it in some fresh compost, put it somewhere warm, and it should grow again. I have another one here, which was bought exactly the same time, wherever this was grown on a south-facing window, so this has plenty of sunlight, and this is just a few months ahead of that one because it's been in a shadier position. It hasn't had as much light to build up its energy store, so it's taken longer. So this one managed to achieve it much quicker, and so because of that, it's already got ahead of it, and it's already got another flower shoot, which is this one here. You can see just coming up. You can tell it's a flower shoot because you can see there's a leaf here. The leaf is a lot thinner, the flower shoot's a bit wider. But the main thing, if you look at the leaf shoot, it's just, you get the focus there, it just comes over, and there's a little point, just comes to a rounded point. Whereas the flower shoot, where the rounded point is, there's a little notch in the top. You can just see there the very slight notch, and just in there. So that's how you can tell the difference. So that should be flowering in a few weeks, hopefully. That one was the same, died back, grew really fat bulb, and that's done well now. So yeah, that's all my houseplants in the living room. I'll do another update maybe in several months' time of my living room houseplants, but I'll continue this series of my houseplants, and I'll go on to my other rooms, which will be the kitchen, my bedroom, and then my spare room as well, and that'll be all my houseplants. I've already done one about my orchid collection in my dining room, but I'll continue this as we go along.